Hey, Emily here with J Bowen and Company. On today's video, we are going to be making Pottery Barn inspired Halloween decorations on a budget. We're going to have a lot of fun. These projects are very easy. They're going to turn out looking high-end, super cute, and affordable. Let's go ahead and get started. The first project was inspired by this spooky bat wreath. This is what inspired this whole video. I was taking a look at the Pottery Barn website, which I do every season, and I like to just take a look at it in general just to see what's popular, what they are showcasing, the colors they're using, and things like that, because I often have the same items in my inventory and I like to decorate with them, and then sometimes I make purchases as well. So this is what started this entire video. I knew that I had this wreath in my stash, and I knew that I had it because I had just taken it out of my booth and it was actually in my car. It had these yellow forsythia flowers on the wreath, and they were kind of falling off, so I knew that I needed to take it out of my booth. Plus, it was just out of season. I then gave it a quick coat of paint with the black Rust-Oleum flat primer paint that I had, and I gave it one coat and then I gave it another coat. I actually also turned it over and coated the back, painted the back, because I thought if any of these limbs break or they twist or something like that on down the road, I'd rather have it painted already. I knew I needed to head up to the Dollar Tree to purchase some of those little twinkle lights, the little fairy lights to put on the wreath. So I went up there, but before I did, I stopped at a thrift store and I actually found this star that had some twinkle lights on it. I paid $1 for this whole setup, and I can use a star at Christmas or other times, and then I can use the twinkle lights for this project. Adding the twinkle lights were a little bit more difficult than I had anticipated because the way the wreath was, it's just kind of hard to get the lights in there. I think overall though, I would probably leave off the lights just on this particular wreath because they're kind of hard to attach to this kind of wreath. It would probably look good at night, but during the daytime you can kind of see the wire. Initially, I was going to cut the bats out of some felt that I had in my attic. So I went and got the felt to cut out. But when I went to the Dollar Tree to pick up the twinkle lights, or let's see, fairy lights, I ended up finding these little bats that were already pre-made with little hooks. You got 4 of them for $1.25. So, you know, they were a perfect match. They look really cool and cute. They came in purple and orange and the black as well, but I ended up getting the blacks. I thought they just looked the classiest, but really you could use any color bats that you wanted to. So I just took them and I just clipped them on randomly on the different branches. The next project was inspired by these adorable Pottery Barn ghost coasters. I thought they were cute, and I thought that I could teach you some techniques on how to make some ghost coasters. Just these coasters for $1.50. They were sealed up from the thrift store. They came in this little tray thing already, this little wire tray. And when I took them apart, the stickers, I guess, probably were decoupaged on there, just came right off. So what I ended up doing is I washed them really good with soap and water. And then I put a coat of paint on them. This paint is called Algonquin. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but there you go. I was going to use my cathedral taupe, but we have done some cleaning and rearranging and I could not find it. So I went with this color. It's a really pretty taupe, kind of grayish tan color. And probably will actually look a little better anyway because it's a little darker and the ghost will show up. But the first thing is you want to paint 2 good coats of paint so that the, paint is solid. It is important in this project and any other painting that you do that you have a thick, layered up base coat so that your painting will look good overall. I've told you all this before and I'm going to keep telling you this. It's one of the biggest mistakes that I see most artists do or young artists do is they don't put on enough coats of paint. So anyway, what we're going to do is we are going to draw little ghost shapes. So this is important that you do not be afraid here at this point. Do not be afraid that you're going to mess up these ghost shapes because they are just ghost shapes. They're just made up shapes. Now, if you feel more comfortable, you can always draw it out with a pencil. But I'm not going to. I'm just going to freehand it because, like I said, these shapes are just totally made up shapes. They don't have to be perfect. Now, if you're at home and you're trying to paint something like this, you can always look up on the Pottery Barn website and take a look at the inspiration photo so that you can get more ideas. Now, you don't want to copy it exactly. You don't want to almost copy it and then try to sell it. This is just for personal use only, and my daughter actually really loved them. So I'm just, freehanding these ghosts, and I'm going to end up putting several layers of paint on there because, like I said, layering is important. It makes, paintings like this look better. Then I'm just going to kind of make these bat shapes. They're just random little shapes. They're not perfect. They don't have to be perfect, and that's what I'm trying to tell y'all is this is very amateur, kind of childlike paintings. So I'm just painting these little bat shapes and I'm just taking inspiration. I want to tell you that I picked up these paintbrushes from the Dollar Tree today just to try them out because I've kind of, lost or ruined some of my little paintbrushes or just couldn't find them. So anyway, I just picked them up to try them out. And actually, they're not bad for little brushes. For $1.25, you got a pack of several different ones. They're actually better than you would think. So, I would recommend getting these for these kind of projects. This isn't like a fine art project. This is just a little fun craft, and they work just fine for this kind of craft. So yeah, I'm just using a combination of my Fusion Mineral Paint and just my normal little acrylic paints because, quite frankly, they were just handy. They were already out, so I just grabbed the paint. And I didn't have the white or very much of the white acrylic, so I just thought, well, I'll just use this casement. Fusion Mineral Paint has a top coat already in it, and so you don't have to seal it. And if you're interested in purchasing the Fusion Mineral Paint, I am a retailer, not a dealer. My friend said a dealer sounds like a drug dealer, but, cracked me up. Anyway, so I'm a retailer. I have a website, www.jbowenandcompany.com. So what I'm doing here is I just added another coat of paint, and then I'm mixing a little bit of paint, black paint and a little white paint to just kind of make some shadowing. And I'm just kind of, going around in places that there would be natural shadows on the ghost. And basically, I want to tell you all a little tip. So at thrift stores, I like to pick up wallpaper, old wallpaper, and I use it to paint on because usually it's, $1 for a huge roll. I bought some today and it was 25 cents for two huge rolls, but it's actually kind of cool looking wallpaper. I could use it in a project as well, but that's what I use to paint on. So now what I'm doing is I'm taking this little tiny brush and I'm just making the black eyes for the ghost. You can always try it on the paper at first or whatever you're painting on. That's what I did, I think, just to see what they would look like. And like I said, you're not going to mess this up. Don't be afraid, or anything like that. Their coasters were a little bit more simple than this, but I'm just having fun and just trying to teach you these little tips. Now, guys, I have not painted like this in a long time, but like I've told you before, I do have an art degree in studio art, Bachelor of Fine Arts in painting and studio art. And, I've been painting my whole entire life, so this is not my first rodeo, although it has been a long, long time since I've painted like this. So it's really fun doing something like this where I can kind of teach you some techniques and things like that. I hope that you are learning some new techniques that you can use, but if you're not a crafter and you just like the look of the Pottery Barn items, head over there to their website and check them out. You might want to make a purchase, and if you don't make a purchase, at least check out their beautiful layouts. That's one thing I do love about the Pottery Barn website. So now I'm going to add some pumpkins, and so at first I'm just adding some orange, but then I'm going to go back with a lot of different layers. I'm only using several colors here because that's all that Pottery Barn used, so I basically just used white, black, orange, yellow, and a little bit of green. And you're going to see here in a minute, I put down the base color of the orange, but the way I normally would paint is I don't just use straight up colors out of the, right out of the paint bottle, but I am on this because it's just a little craft project. But you're going to see how I begin to mix the different shades here in a second. I'm adding little stems, so you need little tiny paintbrush for that. I'm adding some little green stems, and you'll see that here in a second. And right now I just go back and I'm highlighting those little curly cues. Those are actually like strings for like lights or something. And I'm adding a little bit of white to highlight them because it just makes it look, a little bit more detailed and just a little better in my opinion. So I'm taking that white and I add just little dots and little eyes and things like that to the bats and to the cat and to all the different little things. And I like to do that because it just gives it a little bit of dimension. So just an interesting little story for you. When I was in high school, I was very big into art, and I actually was commissioned to do a lot of different projects. And, I did baby nurseries and paintings, but the creepiest thing I did, I was actually commissioned by a local funeral home director to draw out a cemetery, kind of like a rendition of a cemetery with a mausoleum and all the different things so that he could present it. I think he was trying to get investors, or I really have no idea. I don't really know anymore what it was, but I did a whole rendition for him of this cemetery. So that's kind of a different project for a high school student. But it was a lot of fun. But I did all kind of things. I did advertisements and like drawings, sketches for a clothing store. I did that. And I did paintings. I just was very involved in high school in art. And then I went on to college as well, and actually made a lot of money back then. I mean, it was in the for a high school student back in the 90s. I could make $500 for a nursery, painting a mural in a nursery. I did that in multiple different nurseries, and I would paint all kind of things, and that's pretty good money for the 1990s. Wouldn't be bad money today. So anyway, just a little tidbit about myself. So now you can see these coasters are starting to get more and more layered. So what do y'all think, guys? Do you like this project so far? I know it's a little longer and more detailed than my other projects, but if you like this project, I would love if you gave me a like. And do you like seeing me paint things like this? Let me know, because I can definitely teach you more tips on painting and things like that. I'd be happy to share that with you. So just let me know what you think. And if you'd like to subscribe to my channel to see more videos like this, I would love to have you join us. And y'all, I love all the comments that you give me. I love reading them. I read them to my family and my husband and my kids, and we sometimes talk about your comments and how to respond and stuff like that. But anyway, I really love your comments, and I really love just to hear what you have to say. And it's very exciting to get new subscribers and just to get the likes and stuff. It really means a lot. So here is the final reveal. I think these would be really fun to personalize for your children or grandchildren. What do you think? Do you like this project? I think a lot of us have seen these cozy teddy bear style pumpkins. They've kind of been popular for a little bit. If you haven't, here they are. Anyway, we are not going to be making these pumpkins today, but we're going to make a project that has been inspired by these pumpkins. Okay, guys, these are large cutout pumpkins. And a friend of the family, my husband's friend, actually gave them to my husband to give to me. And I literally had them a year or two, and I just couldn't decide what to do with them. But when I was looking at the website, Pottery Barn website, I saw those 3 pumpkins, and I thought, you know what, that would be a great idea. I could just mimic those colors, and I just happened to have spray paint and paint in those same colors. So I took out my paint and I painted the first one in just this chocolate brown, and I had all this brown paint and caramel color paint because last year I was on a gingerbread theme kick where I was making over little houses into gingerbread houses, really all kinds of things into gingerbread, because I just love gingerbread. But I had some of this paint left, so I gave it a quick coat of paint with the chocolate, and then I'm going to move on to the next one here in a second. And I had this caramel color, it's like the gingerbread color paint, and so I gave it a coat of paint with the gingerbread or the caramel coat of paint. So y'all, listen, I am going to link all these extra products into my description, and you can find them either on my website, jbowenandcompany.com, or you can find them on Amazon. But I'll have all these different products linked, or similar products linked. So if you want to make these products and you don't have, or projects, and you don't have the products, then you can go ahead and purchase them that way. I will receive a small commission, but I'll have them linked conveniently for them, or for you. So then I took out, turns out I didn't have quite enough of that caramel color, but I had this rusty color. I didn't film this part, but I just kind of went over it in the places I needed, and I think it looked pretty good too. I didn't have an off-white one, so I just took out my I believe this is Cashmere. Cashmere. I wrote it up there for you. Cashmere Paint. I did that the other day. So anyway, yeah, it's Cashmere Paint, and I gave it a couple quick coats of paint. And so basically, as you can see, what I'm doing is I'm just painting these 3 already cut out. These are large cut out, probably a couple feet in size or more, these different little yard cutouts, these different colors. And like I said, the spray paint will be fine outside. And then also, so will the fusion paint. It will be just fine outside. So then I gave it a coat of this white cashmere. It's kind of like a creamy off-white color. It's really pretty. And I gave it a coat of paint. And then what I'm going to do after this is I had to go to the Dollar Tree because I had to get some of the, the thick rope twine. I know I have some in a tub, but I just really didn't feel like digging for it. So anyway, here you go. I went up to get those twinkle lights, and here you go. Here is that $1.25 now, $1.25 kind of like rope. It's like a thick twine, and then I just started hot gluing it onto the top of the stem. Now this is just for purposes to show y'all, so I'm going to go back and put a super glue on there because this probably will not hold up in the heat. Y'all are probably going to hate me for this, but you're going to have to stay tuned and check out the next video to see the final reveal on these because I did not get them finished in time. So stay tuned to the next video that I put out. It's going to be a front porch refresh, and I'm going to feature these in that video. Okay guys, the next project is this ghost wreath, retailing for $59 at Pottery Barn. I saw it and I thought it was just adorable. I also love all their, setups, their staging when they, post the pictures. They're really nice to look at. If you don't look at Pottery Barn, you should go take a look because they have a lot of great styling and merchandising. Anyway, so I saw this wreath and I thought I can make this, and I have every single supply besides those fairy lights. So I went deep into my stash. Y'all look at this. It looks a lot worse than it is, but this is my stash. I had just put these wreaths there, so I knew I had a couple of them here, and I know I have a bunch of them in my attic. By a bunch, probably like 5 more at least. Anyway, so I dove deep into my stash and I pulled out this one. And so it actually looked like a homemade one. I guess they're all like kind of homemade. But anyway, so I took out my black paint and, I'm batch painting. I painted both of these wreaths at the same time. You don't need to paint one and go paint the other. You could just do them both at once and just knock them out. So I gave it 2 quick coats of paint. I painted the front and I painted the back too. Just so in case something happened, it wouldn't, mess up the wreath because I didn't paint it. I can usually find these grapevine wreaths for around $1, maybe $2. But, if you can't find them at your thrift store, you can always pick them up at a craft store. But I'd recommend a thrift store because they're a lot cheaper. For this project, you're going to need this grapevine wreath, the black paint, and you're going to need some of these styrofoam balls. I picked them up at the Dollar Tree when I went. And then a piece of felt and some scissors. I threw in my antique scissors just so you can see them because I think they're cool. I don't know if they're antique, but they look antique. Anyway, and then you're going to need this fabric. I always have a bunch of this fabric on hand, all different colors of whites and off-whites and stuff like that. So you're just going to need to take a piece of the fabric and you're going to just need to tear it so you get that nice frayed edge. I can't remember how big the piece was. I'd say it was about 1.5 feet, probably about 18 inches. This is a pretty big wreath, and I actually thought that a larger ghost would look better than the one that, I hate to say this, but than the one that Pottery Barn used. I thought a longer ghost would actually look a little bit better, so I wanted to use more material. So the cool thing about this wreath is I'm using just the white, kind of bright white fabric, but just think of all the things you could do. You could use lace, you could use you could tea stain or coffee stain some fabric to give it a more vintagey look. There's a lot of different looks you could do with these wreaths. But anyway, so then I took out my hot glue gun and then I put some glue on that styrofoam ball and then I glued it to the fabric. Now listen, if you're going to put this outside, I would not recommend using hot glue because it can melt in the sun and fall apart. But just so that I could do this fast for you guys, I used hot glue. But if I was using it outside, I would use, a different kind of glue that would work outside, probably like a Tite Bond, quick and thick, or just like a regular kind of just like a super glue or something like that. I then ended up putting an a cup hook up at the top, went right through the fabric and through the styrofoam. I didn't film it, but I ended up putting some glue in there just so that it would hold. Then I took out this black felt that I had in my attic, and I have a walk-in attic. I am not going up into a ladder attic to get this felt. It's just a walk-in attic. Anyway, so I'm cutting out these just free cutting these, eyes for the ghost. I probably could have just folded over the fabric and gotten a better cut, but, I didn't think about it till I'm reviewing this video. So anyway, I just cut out some eyes. At first they were a little big, and then I decided to make them a little bit smaller. And then I just glued them on again glued them on with the hot glue right on the fabric. Really loving this wreath so far. It's so easy to make, and I have all the supplies. Besides those, I did have to buy those styrofoam balls too, but you could also do like Mod Podge these ghosts so that you don't even have to have the styrofoam permanently underneath them. But anyway, that's just a whole nother idea and thing that you can do. But this is a very, very simple project. It didn't cost me hardly any money because I already had the felt, already had the fabric, already had the hot glue, already had the wreath and the paint. And so, it's just very, very cost effective, once again, just for a few dollars. So now I took out this black yarn so that I could hang the ghost from the wreath. So basically I just had to cut it to the correct length to hang the ghost. It took me several tries to decide what length I needed to cut it to so that it would hang right. And y'all be on the lookout for these, I don't even know what you call it, but these things of yarn, different, I prefer the thicker ones. Some of it is really thin. It's like string. I don't really like that. I really like the thicker ones. So y'all be on the lookout for these different spools of yarn or whatever you call them. They have some other name, but anyway, just be on the lookout for them because you can use them in projects, and also they make pretty good decor pieces. My mom sometimes says, are those for decor or to use? And I just tell her both. Here is the final reveal. I did add on the fairy lights. I think this is an adorable wreath. Now on to the black jack-o'-lantern. So this is a really simple project. I had this, y'all have to see what happened. Y'all listen. I had this terracotta jack-o'-lantern I was going to paint. Sometimes Fusion Mineral Paint can stick, so I was tapping it, on my counter to loosen up the lid, and a lot of this black paint spilt out. But you know what? It was a happy accident because I ended up being able to use all this paint. I could have just scooped it back and put it in the, container. But what I did is I just started painting, giving it a good coat of this Fusion Mineral Coal Black paint. It's one of the best black paints out there, and I just gave it a good coat of paint. So here is a Fusion Mineral Paint tip. You need to clean off the lid before you put the lid back on, or it is likely to stick and be closed shut tight. And the only way you can open it is if you tap it, or if you have a heat gun. I use my heat gun a lot, and I'll heat around the rim, and then you can just open it right up. But this is what can happen if you tap it. So don't do like I do and be in a rush to just close it up. You need to clean off the lid, or you can have this fun little accident, which could have been a lot worse. Luckily, it just landed on the paper. So anyway, what I'm doing is I'm just giving it a coat of paint. I'm going to leave the inside terracotta color. And I really like terracotta in general, but I thought this would be pretty cool because, one, there was a little hairline crack in the hat, and I was really dying to do, this project. And I'd already purchased this. I think I purchased this, 2-3 months ago. It was out in my garage, and I was going to put it in my Halloween, stash in my booth. So I don't know if I'm going to do that. If I'm going to put it in my booth now, I kind of like how the final result ended up looking. But anyway, I'm just giving it a coat of paint, and I ended up painting some canvases too for another project that I'm going to be doing. So I used up every bit of that paint, so that was good. And I went ahead and got those canvases painted as well. So what we're going to do here is we're going to give it a faux finish. So after I give it the coat of paint and it dries completely, which it dries really fast because this is a very porous material, so the Fusion Mineral Paint is just going to soak right up and dry up in no time. So what I'm doing is I'm just going to take some casement paint, which is a white paint. If you don't have casement, you don't have coal black, just use your regular black paint. That works just fine. And so does your white paint. Now, if you wanted to purchase this, you can certainly purchase it from me, but don't feel, obligated to do that. So you're going to take your white paint, and you're going to make a white wash with it. As you can see, I am doing multiple layers of this white wash. At first, it was kind of light, and then I decided I just want it to be a little bit whiter. So I kept dipping my paintbrush back in the casement and was doing less of a wash. It still was adding water to it, so it wasn't just straight paint, but I wanted to make it a little bit whiter and kind of give it that, or whiter, not whiter, whiter, and give it that kind of chalky look. I think that looks really cool. And anyway, then I just adding that again and again until it just gets the right look. And I'm just, adding it on, and then I'm kind of patting it off with the, and then just kind of rubbing it in with the paper towel there. I use a lot of paper towels in these projects because it really it's a good tool, just like a paintbrush. You can also use a cloth if you want to, an old t-shirt or something like that. But, I like to use a paper towel here and there because I can just throw it away when I'm done and don't have to worry about washing it. But anyway, so I'm going to do the same thing with the hat. So what do you think about this look? Do you like it? I really think it looks good. What do y'all think? If you like it, leave me a comment. I would love that. So here is your thrift tip of the day. You need to be looking for these things all year round, not just right now, because right now everyone is going to start looking for, these kind of decorations. So you always need to be looking ahead, and so that you're collecting these items so that you have them to make over. Because if you go out today to find something, you may not be able to find it. You may get lucky because stores are going to have stuff out, but at the same time, you want to go ahead and look ahead of time so that you have them when you need them. is the final reveal. What do you think? Do you like this one? I think it turned out pretty good. It kind of looks whiter now that it dried, but anyway, I still like it. And if you like these kind of spooky Halloween inspired DIY projects, I think you would love my last Sleepy Hollow inspired project. So you should check that video out, and I'll have it linked in the comments. Now that you have seen all of the projects, which one is your favorite? Do you think that you'll be making any of these projects? Do you have any of these supplies already? Thought you would. Anyway, if you like this video and you like this kind of content, please give me a like and leave me a comment, and also subscribe to my channel for more videos like this.